Hey guys, it's your all things streaming friend Bonnie, and this is the Influencer Spotlight, where we bring you interesting people and stories and a behind the scenes look at what it takes to become an influencer. I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest today. Kirstyn Allen is an award winning marketer, B2B sales expert, and international speaker. She has directly contributed over $16 million of revenue to large tech organizations and trained dozens of sellers throughout her career. A self identified corporate dropout, Kirstyn built a thriving business in a niche community of over 10,000 plus business owners seeking corporate partnerships. She's also a published author, a podcast host, and a passionate advocate for helping others turn their skills into their own success stories. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bonnie. I'm excited to be here.
And so, guys, if you're just joining us now, before we started, I was just having a quick chat with her, and she also has been juggling a 4-year-old. So, if you have done that and also had success in business, you know what that means, and it's a pretty big accomplishment. So, I had to add that in.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, tell our viewers, obviously, like, let's hear your story, and I'm really excited to hear the part about being a corporate dropout.
Yes, absolutely. So, my professional background is in tech, but I've always been interested in entrepreneurship, even when I was a little girl. So, I was the girl who had the lemonade stand in front of the apartment building that we lived in and understood the value of turning what you had, which was water, sugar, borrowing furniture from inside of the house to creating value even in my local neighborhood. And so that was really the first spark of what led me to get to the point that I am in today of starting business and even deciding that I wanted to trade in a cushy corporate career for the dream of being an entrepreneur. So, my background, as I mentioned, was in tech. I was able to work my way up to an account executive where I was traveling all over the Northeast, selling technology to the tune of millions, as you mentioned. But there was this deep desire inside that really did not go away. It was like a fire that just never went away that was there from that time period that I spoke about when I was a little girl. And it took the pandemic to really wake me up to see that this isn't something I wanted to continue to put on hold. And that's when I started my organization that started as the K Allen Agency, which was a marketing firm because my background in college was marketing. And it quickly morphed into this a gap that I found other business owners really wanting to figure out how do they land these big partnerships with companies, organizations. I did a bit of influence partnerships a while back in the beginning of my business. And so, again, taking the skill sets or the value that I had inside and creating a solution was showing up for me again to be a theme in my life. And last year, I actually got to the point where I no longer wanted to kind of be on the fence. I still had my foot in corporate, still, believing in the American dream that this is what I needed to do in order to be successful, make it all worth it, and also building something that I really felt passionate about. And it came on um, let's see, maybe in August. I can't remember the exact date, but on September 12th, I was officially released. I'm a spiritual person. So I was officially released to leave my job, which is the whole corporate dropout moniker, to pursue full time this vision that I was creating and the people that I was meant to serve. And through then, it has just become a whirlwind of being able to speak and publishing a book and starting a podcast and really ensuring that this message, which it is about the corporate partnerships, but it's ultimately about owning the skill sets that you have and creating the value whenever you desire. That you're never tied to one particular opportunity because you are the opportunity. And so I'm thankful that I get to share that now on a wider scale and get to have this conversation with you today.
I love that. I this is so fascinating. And I will be honest, we've been filming 2 shows a day for the last couple of weeks, and so I don't get to do a deep dive into each and every person, but when I was reading your bio this morning, I was like, "Oh my gosh, we need to talk to her," because we are a streaming network and we work with, over 200 clients that have TV shows or video podcasts, and we distribute them on the big platforms for them, but so many people need sponsorships. They need corporate sponsorships, and they have such an asset. They have this TV show and it has distribution, and there's just a great synergy. After the show, we'll have more conversations. But I love that you picked that niche because I feel like it's such a important piece to, like, you went and followed your dreams, but it allows so many others to follow their dreams too when they get that piece right.
Yes, yes, and that just sparks the fire. Even as you just repeated that back to me, I'm like, "That's exactly it."
Yeah, it's so true. It's like I just was on a call with one of our show hosts. She has a show called Good Morning Joy, and she's doing a cross country, like in a Winnebago. Is that the right word? Like in a van type of situation, and they're going to film all across the U.S. And she's missing one sponsor, and it's like such a cool concept and such a great thing. And then to know that there's people out there that can help support, that's really awesome.
Yes, and tell that story because that is that and as you said, following your dreams allows someone to follow theirs. So even seeing her on that journey allows her to get in the spaces of so many other people, and it
Yes.
becomes this domino effect. So I love it.
That's amazing. Really, really great. So can you share some success stories? We always love to hear like what happened next. Can you talk about a client journey if you're allowed, and just let people know kind of what might be possible for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with a lot of people who are similar to me and have, a lot of knowledge, right? A lot of experience, whether it's from their corporate career or even in entrepreneurship. And they just want to figure out, like, okay, how do I put this into something that creates value on a higher level? And so one of my clients in particular, she's been in business for over 10 years. She's worked with clients individually on their gut health and mindfulness. So more of what we would call kind of the softer niches or softer things that she's been able to accumulate but are hugely valuable even in these corporate spaces. And so through our work together, we were able to get her into Louis Vuitton, which is, kind of like, how does that work? We only think of them
Yeah.
as a goods provider, but they also have humans working for them that need mindfulness support, that need mental health support. And she was one of the people that came in and provided her workshops and her brilliance and expertise to that workforce. And I love that story in particular because, for one, it shows that literally whatever your knowledge is inside, it likely has a place, right? It doesn't have to be this stuffy, well, I have to do finance or marketing or whatever the case may be. But what is your life story that you've overcome, whether it is something health wise or mental health wise? Those things can be hugely valuable inside of an organization because ultimately they're people too. I think a lot of times people think it's big corporate and little me. But just like you and I are talking, this is the same way that anyone can have a conversation with someone who has decision-making power in a corporation. And so that's one win that I love to share. And the fact that that unlocked her to other opportunities. She went on to win a $25,000 grant for her business, for example. And a part of that she attributed to being able to position herself beyond what she was just doing before we started working together, but how this really impacts on an enterprise or corporate level. And that attracted more eyes for investors to want to be a part of her company. So
That's
the vision and
amazing.
and the plan and the expansion of the vision matters so much to where you see yourself going in the future.
I love that. It's funny. You did kind of like startle me because I was like, that's, she's going to say a healthcare brand or like a nutraceutical or something like that.
Yes.
And so that was really, that's illuminating because it's like, oh, we think so many times, like I have this conversation with people and I don't have any skill set in it, but they always come to me to find sponsors. And so I'll say, well, think about what, people use your brand, but that's a really great way to think about it is it's the humans working in the
Yeah.
company, not just the brand or a bag or a purse. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that example.
Absolutely.
So what's next for you? Like obviously you've had a big leap. Tell us a little bit about sort of the vision of where you're taking everything.
Yeah. So, I'm really working on creating an organization that, of course, helps to expand other people's dreams. So, we're actually looking at how do we bring on people to teach the methodologies and things that I know and be able to bring their brilliance as well so that we can be able to expand. Because really, I want to ensure we're in multiple different industries. One of our major goals is to do things like this, be in the entertainment space, and really take some of this talk about how do you create these strong partnerships with folks who have the pockets to be able to support your mission. And so I want to ensure I'm in spaces invisible and sharing in spaces like entertainment, in sports, like all of these spaces need what we have to offer. And the only way that we're going to be able to serve at that level is to continue to expand. So that's one of our big goals is really start to tap into how we establish those partnerships for our clients. And then how do we grow this company to where we have a multiple, right now we do have a countrywide or national reach, but I even see there being an opportunity to have a global reach, right? And continue to employ others and continue to grow the business, continue to create massive partnerships. I think that's where this all works is it's beyond just, how many people come into our organization and how our organization grows, but what are those partnerships that we're landing for our clients? 10 million, 20 million. Like how can we continue to stack results like that so that their missions can be moved forward?
That's amazing. So, again, sort of tying it back to our network, and I didn't expect the conversation to go here, but say we do have somebody that has produced a film or has produced a show and they want to find a sponsor either for the next series or season or film. What is sort of the process? Like if they come to you and then what happens next?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would be super excited about this. But I think the first thing to understand is what I tell my clients too is what's the win-win? Like, yes, you want to get them to support, but what is in it for them? One of the questions that I love to ask when I first meet with a decision maker is like, how can I make you the hero of your department or the hero of your team? So people will support a mission when it benefits their particular bottom line or their initiatives or their projects that they have going on. So one of the first things that you may want to do is start doing some research, or we do this in-house when folks work with us to understand based upon the vision behind this project and what the key elements are, what are the companies, what are the organizations that have that shared mission? Because ultimately, you're not just looking for a sponsorship, you're looking for someone who shares in your voice and able to help you take it further, right? So you want someone who can actually be a partner with you, not just a one and done, but the partner that's going to continue to support your additional ventures because you have a shared mission. I think that's how you build a strong partnership. So knowing that piece is going to be first. And then the second piece, once you have a list, I have my clients or we develop a list of at least 100 different partners so that we can kind of vet and see who would be a good fit. Then you just need to make sure you're talking to the right person and have a strong message that contributes, again, what's in it for them. So, yes, this is the project. But for example, if you have an organization that's really big on sustainability, I'm hearing that a lot, right? So,
Mhm.
how does your project tie to sustainability? It could be so many different ways, whether you are, I don't know, using recycled film, I don't know. But whatever the case may be, finding those through lines between what they care about is going to be super important so that when you're ready to pitch the person, and it's finding the right person is going to be important, and then you can put together a case that makes them lean in and say, yes, we definitely want to support that. So at a high level, that's what it would look like. Identification of what that through line is, identifying the right person, and then putting together a succinct message that really showcases what's in it for them and how they can become a long-term partner.
I love that. This is so valuable. I'm like, oh my gosh, we must have many more conversations. This is amazing. I'm so glad we found each other. Talk a little bit about how you're finding your clients. Doing your own thing and building your own business can be a little tricky. It's very different than having the paycheck that comes in every 2 weeks. So talk a little bit about that journey for our viewers.
Yeah, so a lot of my clients have come in two ways. So definitely a social media presence, right? Everybody has to have that nowadays to be able to connect on a wider scale. So that gives me an opportunity to even have like conversations like this where people can see themselves in what I'm saying and see the passion behind what I do. I find attracts a lot of people who want to work with me because they have the problem that, they're looking that I can help them solve, right? So having that online presence is key. And also even getting offline and getting into rooms and spaces where there are people who are already running successful businesses, or maybe, like you said, they've just completed a project, right? And they're already in the space of looking at how do they take that further, and getting in those spaces and having conversations like this where I'm walking them through what it will look like for them to be able to achieve that goal. That has also been very well to help me find clients, because when I speak and when I talk, I could just kind of go in many different areas that really resonates with people. And then, of course, referrals. So when you do great work, or when you're in spaces or networks with people who are entrepreneurs or who are building projects, it often gets around of like, hey, she's the person that can help you be able to do this. And being so niche, as you mentioned early on, does really lead well in referrals, because what one person is looking to do, they're likely in other networks with other people who are doing the same. So that also really helps. And I find that to work in several different, industries when you really get niche down on the problem that you solve.
Love it. So fantastic. This is so so fascinating. I could talk about this topic all day. So where can people find you if they're watching and they're interested in connecting with you?
Yes. So you can find me on all social media platforms at Kirstyn J. Allen. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also Kirstyn J. Allen on LinkedIn as well. So you can find me there. My podcast is Get Corporate Clients Now, available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. And I'm always going live somewhere on the internet waves. And so you'll be able to catch me and be able to tune in to some content there, as well as check out our website. So
Love
that's
it. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been a gift to have this information and knowledge. And as I said, it will be the first of many conversations.
yes. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Yes, and thank you everybody for watching and being here today. If you are a content creator and you're interested in getting your content distributed on major streaming platforms, you can get a consultation, free consultation at bingedistribution.com. And remember, keep creating because the world needs your work. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here today.